with Skywomans Garden, and today I'm going to make this video for you, part of a series of gardening in the pandemic, gardening at the end of the world. A lot of people said that I should put some of my knowledge on tape, so I'm going to do that. So I wanted to show my son. My son's been asking about how is he going to grow some seeds. There's Alex right behind the camera right there. So I said, okay, buddy, well, I'm going to teach you how, and guess what? We can teach everybody else too. So this is just the first in the series, and this is where we begin. We begin with seedlings and how to plant seedlings. Now there's, it is basically just throwing them in dirt, but there's a lot of tips and tricks that you need to know if you're going to be successful, because this is actually the most critical time for a plant, is its germination and how it grows from there. So basically, first you need a container. Well, you really only need a few things, one of which is a container. So I brought a few things here. We've got 5 people in the house right now under quarantine, so we have a lot of garbage. So garbage is good. So I've been basically salvaging everything I can, because look at this, it's a mini greenhouse. So there's a lot of really great things that you can use. These are little shot glasses from Tim Hortons. This is a strawberry cloche right there. This is a really cool idea. Use your egg cartons, but keep your eggs in the cartons, because that provides a lot of calcium in there for the plants when they grow older. Smoothies or milk, if people get them in that way. We go through a huge amount of milk, so I do bags, and well, bags wouldn't work. But so, and then you've got obviously actual ones that you buy. Bought these on Amazon. So these are for the older plants that I tend to plant. So I'm going to save those for later. Your seedlings are only going to be really small, so you're going to want smaller things. This is a good one. These are Jiffy pots. They're made out of peat, and the peat actually disintegrates in the garden. So you can take this once they're planted in there individually and just pop it right in the garden, which is kind of nice. So, but if you're looking for things, you know, out of your garden, I would suggest something like this. So I'm going to plant this because I think this is really great, because it gives you everything it needs. So basically, it has the bottom tray, which you'll get in a lot of commercial places when you buy them. They're just, well, they're about $5 or $6 per tray. And I don't have a tray. I'll show you in the next video my professional trays, but this basically simulates it. But what you're going to want to make sure in all of these is that there's proper drainage. Big thing. Because we want the soil not to be wet. So the soil can't be wet, because if the soil is too wet, obviously we want it damp and moist, but if the soil is too wet, you're going to get moisture issues, which is the death of seedlings. So that's like a mold, a white mold that goes on them and just kills them, so you don't want that. So if you're going to use something like this, you're going to put a lot of drainage in the bottom, and then this will just go on top, and this will actually maintain all the great moisture in there. So it's going to keep it a little bit warmer, and then the moisture is going to kind of condensate in there, and it's going to be a greenhouse. So what actually we're going to do with these ones is, in a future video, we're going to have a cold frame, and we're going to put these in the cold frame. So that's why I'm going to do spinach in this one, and chives in another one, because these are really good cold weather plants, and they'll be up really soon, in about 3 weeks, and then so our quarantine family will be able to have some fresh spinach, some fresh lettuce, and some fresh chives. Alrighty, so the first thing, you have your container. So now you've got your container. We picked one. The second thing, obviously, is your dirt. So in here I've got some dirt, and then obviously the third thing is going to be your water here. And of course seeds. So I've got some dirt, some dry dirt, but it's not actually dirt. What it is, it's a special soil mix. I don't know if you can see that, but Alex, you can see that? Awesome. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of vermiculite in it. You can see the white things in there, vermiculite, and that's to keep it really fluffy, because we don't want to crowd the roots of the new seedling, right? So we're going to put some in there. Now, a lot of people, and this is something that I used to do, is use something like a pre-mixed potting soil. you do not want to use a premixed potting soil. The reason why you don't is because it actually has, it could have some things in there that aren't good for your seedlings. You want something like this, and I'll put it at the bottom of the video. You want to use something like this. This is it's a Pro Mix, and it's completely sanitized. So there's absolutely no bugs or anything in it that are going to get in there and kill your seedling. You don't want to use anything from outside because that seedling is brand new. Think of it as a brand new newborn baby. You don't want anything that's going to hurt that baby. So even a potting soil that comes from the store, this is what you're going to use in a larger. So when you plant up these chives or these tomatoes or whatever you end up planting, they can go in a larger, and then you're going to use your potting mix in that one. So, but you're not going to use that yet. What you're going to use is this soil in here, which is a sanitized seedling soil. Sometimes it's called a seedling mix, something like that. So first things first is I have my soil, and then I'm going to add some water to it. And the consistency you want in something like this is, again, not wet. We don't want anything wet. We want it nice and fluffy and moist. So we're going to put a little bit of water in there. And also I should mention that all of these I sanitized with bleach. That's really important because you're going to obviously not want anything bad near those brand new seedlings. So you're going to want something that is sanitized with bleach. And it's just 1 part bleach and 10 parts water. And just soak it for about 10 minutes, and then you should be fine. Now, if you can kind of see here, it's a little bit hard to see, but see how it's still sticking to my fingers and it's pretty fluffy? That's what you're going to want. You're going to want moist, but again, not wet. So we're going to put that in here like this. And again, you can see how it's a little bit fluffy. It might need a little bit more water. But we definitely do not want it super wet in there. You can see how it's kind of still fluffy in there. And so now we're ready to go. So this mix, let's put that off to the side. So now we're going to plant some, what did you want to do, Alex? Do you want to do chives or do you want to do spinach?
Spinach.
Spinach? All right, let's do some spinach. All right, these spinach, this is, it's called Bloomsday spinach. And these are saved seeds from a friend of mine near Peterborough. Now, as you can see, these seeds are actually pretty big as far as seeds go. Lettuce seeds are so small. If you've seen them, they're almost like the little beads of soil there. So these are pretty big, and the general rule for planting a seed is twice what they are thick. So these are pretty big, so you can probably plant them your finger there, so about that deep there. I wouldn't obsess about it though. It's not something that you don't want it too deep, but you know what, these little guys are gonna be just fine. So we're gonna plant them about 1 inch apart. Usually on your seed packages, they have a pretty good explanation of how far apart you should put your seeds. And so we're just going to put them in. I'm putting in, because I don't have very many seeds, I'm going to put in 1 per spot. But a lot of times what I'll do is I'll put in 2 per spot. And I'm just basically just throwing them in here. But if I'm trying to be more precise, I like to put them on top of the soil. Whoop, that's 2 in there. Because by the time I get to here, I forget. So I just kind of push them in real quick, and then just make sure they're covered, just slightly there. And then sometimes what I'll do, I was only about 10 seeds, so that wasn't very much. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll get some more of the mix, and especially if it's a very small seed, you're gonna want some water in there. You're going to want to not to put it too deep. Then you're going to want to put see, this is a little bit too much water on there. See how it's clumping like that? We want it to be fluffy, not wet, right? So I'm going to add a little bit more. And the more you do this, the better you're going to get at it. So it's really just about practice and getting your practice in, about how much you want water in there. I've really doused some of mine before, and just as, if you douse them too much, I mean, just as long as you get a fan on them, and you get some of that, you drain some of it away, like, they should be fine. So, I just kind of put it over like this. And just kind of flatten it. There. That's it. A note about seeds. Like I said, a lot of seeds will have on the back how to do this, but really, you know, you get them about 1 inch or 2 inches apart. That's fine. I'm about gardening from the heart, not gardening from advertisements. Right, buddy? Mm-hmm. So really, you know, it's kind of whatever you think, especially in something like this. In something like this, you're going to eventually plant it out into something like this. This is a 4-inch pot. Eventually that lettuce is going to come out, or you could keep it in because it's going to get quite big, right? So you're going to want to get it out of this once it's sprouted. So basically from here on in, now you've got your dirt, then you had your container, your dirt, your water. Now what it needs is some warmth. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this guy on top. And we're going to make sure that it doesn't dry out. And the reason we know it's going to dry out is, see, it's very dark right now. What's going to happen is it's going to turn light brown on the top. So we're just going to keep an eye on that. What's going to happen when we put it downstairs under the lights, or when you put it under the window, is it's going to condense and you're going to have little water droplets. So I'm not worried about too much about how much water's in there, just if there's too much. And then probably in about 5 days, we're going to see little plants coming up. As soon as you see the plants coming up and they get about that big, you're going to want to take this off. You're going to take it off, because if you keep it on too long, what's going to happen is that mold is going to get in there because it's going to be too much condensation on the top there. So that's about it. You're not going to worry about any fertilizing or anything in the next week. You're just going to put this guy in your windowsill, or if you have windows, or if you have sun lamps, that's great too. My sun lamps are in my basement, and we'll give you a tour on one of our other videos. So that's about it, and we will keep an eye on these. And if you have any questions or anything, put them at the bottom of the video. Okay, thanks all.